want to bring on my guest today. Let's get right into it. Dave Friedberg. Dave, thanks for being with me. So let me take that idea of engineering biology and bring it back to economics and maybe even cultural, societal issues. As we open the newspaper every day, or we go on the website every day, and we talk about this debt ceiling and the debt. And what kind of impact do you see alternative proteins, plant-based innovation playing in ramping up the economy? I mean, if we are going to be doing more and more engineering of biology and creating more technology that is mass adopted, like we saw potentially on that S curve, like the iPhone was adopted, or like the computer was adopted after the typewriter, or the car was adopted after the horse. If we see this kind of mass adoption, you're talking about not just Brooklyn and LA that got the memo, but you're talking about Africa, China, India, old, new, young, religious, not religious, every sector of society adopting new technologies and bringing them into their life. That's an enormous amount of money, job, wealth, job creation, et cetera. What do you think about alternative proteins playing a big role in the economic health of the United States, for example?
Well, I mean, remember, all economic growth, if it's not inflationary growth driven by money printing, right, it has to come from productivity gains. And, where you can spend $1 and get $1.50, or spend $1 and get $2. If you can spend $1 and get $2, that wins in the market, and you actually see real economic growth, because then the people that make the $2, they'll spend more on other stuff, and then those people will spend more, and that's how the economy grows.
Sure.
And I think ultimately, the real question is, everyone needs to eat protein, right? We need 10 to 15% of our calories to come from protein. And, if we can generate that protein, and everyone would prefer animal proteins over, the majority of humans would prefer animal proteins over plant proteins, or greater ratio thereof. So the real kind of productivity driver question is, can you make, proteins at a lower price point per gram or per kilogram? And if you can, and people want it because it tastes the same and looks the same and feels the same and all that stuff, then more people will buy that cheaper product. That market will take off, and the marginal gain you'll get, the excess profits you generate from that new system, will get reinvested, and the economy will grow. So, just like any other technology market, productivity gains arising from a transition in the food system can be really beneficial. There's also a great land unlock potential here, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Depending on how you look at the statistics, right? There's, call it, 10 billion grazed acres on Earth, right? And those 10 to 15 billion, whatever the 10 to 12 billion, whatever the number is, pasture land, ranch land, grazing land. If you had a cheaper way of generating, animal proteins rather than using these systems. And some people would argue there's a regenerative effect associated with that. So maybe you want to keep livestock in those parcels of land. But if you no longer need the intensive production of calories as feedstock for animals, or the large amounts of land, then you can rethink what you're using that land and those resources for. And that unlocks new markets and new opportunities.
Starting with sequestering carbon.
You could, yeah. There's a lot of options, right? And I think generally we don't really know. The market decides what they're going to pay for.